You ever get that you're thrown into a situation where nobody gave you a manual or description of what really to expect, and you have to deal with it? My fascination in the beginning, when I started to understand that there are some very beautiful equations. So what does this mean? I speak from the deepest part of my heart when I say that by the end of this night, I hope you don't believe a single word of what I've said. But I'm not done with your mind yet. I need it a little bit longer. I want to show you, actually I want to prove to you, that no matter what holds true in this reality, no matter what you might experience, that these two statements are irrefutable. Just as we managed to predict 13.8 billion years of evolution and come out with something indistinguishable from what we see around us, so must these two statements also be true, under one condition. If you have infinite choices, you must believe that it's possible to make a choice. And if you believe that, then you can create something out of nothing. Give something one and you get two for free. Depending on the perspective of what I look on it, this thing changes shape. We cannot see it normally, but it's there. But all we know, and all we've just shown, that with Gödel, I know that if I start describing this thing in terms of a system of words, that I will not cover its essence, that there will be things outside of it. So why, besides that it's, I think, a rare human gift to spend 5 minutes just looking at each other, not wanting anything, just being present. It's a little trick that can open many doors. It can be relaxing. Hey, I see you. Yeah, you can see me. And everything else falls away and can help in meditation. It's even a doorway to hack your own consciousness. It's a doorway to link two nervous systems together. They've shown with research that if two people connect in this way, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later, that their brains actually become synchronized. That if you go into an fMRI scanner and afterwards you're holding that person's hands and somebody gets a needle prick, that their partner's pain center lights up. So you're really sharing a reality on a deep, deep level. So in this talk, in this last part, I want to talk about that. Now that we know that we can't trust our thoughts, that doesn't mean certain thoughts or models are not incredibly useful. Biology is, neurology is, physics is. And if I would want you to take anything away from this, is these three things. That in every moment, regardless of what your mind is telling you, it's incredibly important to stick out that chest. It feels uncomfortable, especially if you don't feel secure. But I will try to show to you that the thoughts that are possible in your brain, in your mind, depend on the posture of your body. That the mode your brain is depends on whether you're actually allowing yourself to breathe into your belly or not. And on most of all, that if you manage to be present in the moment, that you can transcend yourself. And for that, I have this incredibly detailed model of the human brain. Down at the bottom, you have a very old part called the reptilian brain, which we share with reptiles and birds. On top of that is a layer that evolved as mammals. Something that was more complex than just what these reptiles could do. And on top of that, we have our neocortex, which is basically only humans and in rudimentary form the great apes have. Let's talk about this reptilian brain that's at the foundation of our universe. This reptilian brain, we found out, has basically 4 ways of thinking, the 4 Fs. Anybody want to guess which they are? You guys can't answer because you know. Flight. Fuck. Feed. Right? Eat, feed. Oh, where are we? Yeah. The universe became one. The last one. Fight. Oh, fight, yeah, fight. Yeah. So fight, flee, feed, or fuck. Next. Yeah.
And freeze.
Yeah, it's he's flee and freeze are very similar. Actually, the freeze, I don't know if that might be in the limbic system, but this very small brain is basically doing just one thing. It tries to create an action out of a sensation. You have some kind of body, a lizard or some kind of little animal. It feels its skin, it feels the temperature, it feels pain. That's all it does. That also meant that there is no way for that brain to have an understanding or a connection of what happens in the people or animals around them. It's just fight, dominate, or be dominated. Can I eat it? Can I fuck it? So that limbic brain evolved to experience and express our emotions. And why are emotions so incredibly powerful? Well, we supplanted all the dinosaurs. So that tells us that this evolutionary thing of being able to connect with each other, being able to be part of each other's universe, being able to create something and believe in something that is more than just my own physical survival, is in the long run a better evolutionary adaptation than just fighting each other to see who's strongest. And all these models of what somebody else is feeling, what I'm feeling, or whether I'm fearful or anxious, are built on top of this reptile brain. This reptile brain that basically only can feel sensations. So one way or another, all these different emotions on a deeper level are still built up out of physical sensations. I don't have a diagram here, but there's research shown that for all countries and all races, emotions are experienced precisely on the same areas in their body. So there is a proven reality to this. And in the end, we have that beautiful mind of ours, that beautiful thing that can think, that can tell stories, that can believe something. But the neocortex evolved to tell you a story. To tell you a story in order to protect yourself. Because if I can create a story about what's happening around me, I can anticipate what's going to happen. And if I can anticipate what's going to happen, I can protect myself from it. So on a deep level, whenever something triggers you, your mind has a huge incentive to push that trigger away and to come up with some kind of story to protect you. But if we've just learned that whatever story we've come up with can never be really true, then yes, this is very helpful if I'm out in the savannah and I'm hunting for food and I'm trying to come up with a way to capture that mammoth. But in our society, where basically all our lower needs, food, heat, shelter, are taken care of, this old system is just way too sensitive. It's way too sensitive and constantly tries to tell us that we're in danger. And the trick question is, how can we prevent our brain from constantly telling us that story? How can you hack your thoughts? So my 3 takeaways are indeed posture, this vagus nerve, and of course to be present and to be able to tolerate the physical sensation. So I want to split this room up in two parts. Now you can stay. You guys, I want you to take your finger, put it in your mouth, okay, and really try to make your mouth as wide as possible. Just gonna last for 1 minute or so. You guys, I want you to take your finger and suck on it as hard as possible. Okay, now you can show the... Okay, you don't need to answer because I need your finger in your mouth. A little joke. Okay, you can take your finger out. Now, I'm going to ask you first. If you would rate this joke on a scale of 1 to 10, would you give it more than who of you would give it more than a 7? Just two, that's it. Who of you would give it more than a 6? A 3? Yeah? 4? Okay. Hey, you guys. I'm going to start lower. Who of you is going to give it more than a 4? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, if you do this with enough people, it actually turns out you give it a 10. But that's more than. All right. It turns out it seriously influences the way you experience something. If your mouth is like this, your brain thinks you're smiling, so it finds the joke funnier. If you're like this, your face is contracted, you're angry, you don't find it as funny. I talked about this prefrontal cortex, and there is they just discovered this structure in the brain called the default mode network. And that gets activated whenever you're not doing anything. And that's the thing that tries to protect you. That's that self-reflective talking thing in your mind, that's this thing. It wastes a lot of your energy, but more specifically, it only takes about 10% of the information of your senses. So you're not when you are in this, you are no longer in this moment. You are no longer in this universe, but you are somehow in your own separate world, mind-fucking about what could happen to you. And what I want to teach you guys tonight is to not go there. That it's much more fun to be right here, right now, to experiment, to have fun, to laugh, and to have a break. So let's have a break first. Thank you.